Oh, yes, how to beat Stoke City is what we're looking at here. Stoke have got a very good record at the .com, but last April Swansea put them to the sword, and hoping that they'll do that exactly this week are, of course, our Swans. Welcome back, Rich, James, Jimmy and Hugh, as they review the Bristol City game with us. They talk about the nonsense, which is the Welsh Cup, and, of course, we look ahead to the visit of Stoke City. Welcome to Where Swans Walk. This is 20 minutes of Swansea chat. Download it, listen to it on Spotify, and do give us a subscribe and a like. Roll the titles. Oh, yes. Good old Swansea back on Sunday TV. What is it about the Sky cameras means that when we rock up that you go to pieces in the second half of games? We'll find out the answer to that in a second. Thank you very much for watching, and we are desperate to get our channel moving, so we would love you to hit that subscribe button. Please do it now. Don't move away from it. Press it now. Press the like button, and let's get rolling. Welcome back to all of you. Let's kick off with Stoke City, if that's okay, because that's the visitors this Saturday, of course, to the Swansea.com. Rich, how is it that Stoke have had a good number of victories at you at this stadium? They seem to love playing you away from home.
Well, it's always goals in those games, really. You know, we did have a really good window in April, and I think that was one of the first performances under Williams. We thought, oh, this is starting to come together a bit. And if you have a look at the side that played in that one, I think there's only two of the players who played on that day aren't playing at the moment as our regular sort of fit, if you like, the keeper, and I think Patterson was there then. But it was a really good performance on that day. But, you know, you never know in this league. His first goal, like Luke Williams says, counts for a lot.
Yeah, there they are, actually, the team that beat Stoke last time. Hugh, for you, is this the Swansea side that you're watching? Is it miles stronger than the side that beat Stoke 3-0 in April?
It's quite similar, really, apart from Rushworth and Pato, maybe. So I wouldn't say it's too much difference there. I say we've got a couple of better attacking options in Nom, and we've also got Franco in midfield as well. But yeah, I think it's pretty close, but probably just edging it.
Okay. 2 games, Jimmy, for you this week. Double headers, of course. Sheffield United away is the game we can't review because that's going on, before we've recorded, or say after we've recorded this. But how do you see the challenge of Stoke?
It'd be an interesting one. Obviously, on paper, we probably should win the game quite comfortably. They've been nothing short of really terrible for the whole season so far. They've got the new manager in from Norwich, and he doesn't look any better. I think I've seen a few of them saying it's the worst decision they've ever made to sack Schumacher. But again, we've just got to play our game and maintain our game for 90 minutes because, as shown by Bristol again, we are dropping points because we cannot maintain our level for 90 minutes. And until we sort that out, the results will not change. We will keep drawing games. And then when you play teams like Sheffield United, if you do it, you'll end up losing, because the only reason I think we beat teams like Coventry and Norwich was they were so poor on the day that our drop-off in the second half maybe wasn't as noticeable than it was at Bristol City, because we weren't made to pay for it then, but Bristol we were. So I think it could be an interesting one.
All right, we're going to bring in a Stoke fan and get his view on this. Alfie, welcome to the Swansea chat. I don't know if you heard that, but Jimmy said you've been nothing short of terrible. Is that a fair and accurate description of Stoke right now?
That's a not nice way of putting it, to be honest.
What's going on? Tell the Swansea fans watching this. I mean, get their hopes up.
Well, you should have high hopes already. I mean, start of the season, we looked all right under Schumacher. Played well against Coventry first game, very solid at the back, and then took a chance when we got it. And then Plymouth away, we played very well. And then after Oxford, we decided to sack him, which was a poor performance, to be fair. But then this manager we brought in now, he's trying to play a style of football which is just so tippy-tappy, and trying to do that with the players we've got, it's not going to work. They're just nowhere near good enough for
that. 640 passes, I think 80% of them were in your own half against Middlesbrough. So should the Swansea lads just do the high press and nick the ball off the back four and go and score a load of goals?
Just press Wilmot if he starts. give the ball to you. Did it against Hull and he did it against Middlesbrough a few times. That's the reason we had so many passes in our own half. The back four can't play the ball into the midfielders.
James, fans have been drawing a few parallels between Swansea and Stoke. Both sleeping giants, both had their time in the Premier League, both relegated similar times, both have had, ownership issues, both kind of just stutter each season to get going. Do you share any sympathy with Stoke and the position they're in?
Yeah, I think they've struggled since relegation. I think, again, it's a crisis of identity with Stoke. I mean, I think I said before that they were always known as a hard to beat and physical side that would try to impose themselves on games. Since they've come down, I think I've lost track of the amount of managers they've gone through of all had varying different styles. It's almost as if you can't tell what they're trying to do anymore. And they're a little bit different to us in the sense of that the owners there seem to have ploughed money into it, whereas ours scarcely put anything. But I think that's also come with its own problems. As you can see, so they've gone from Schumacher to someone who's trying to play a similar way to us now, and he's not got the players to do it.
Okay. Alfie, you've got a young lad, Kumas, who will be well known in these circles. Oh, his father will be. Is he the one player that you should look out for, or are there any others?
Yeah, Kumas is probably our biggest threat at the men. I've seen something about Manu being potentially injured, but he can be a threat if he fancies it. He was decent against Middlesbrough, but if he's on his game, he can be dangerous. But yeah, definitely Kumas is probably the one to watch.
Okay, let's get some score predictions before we let you go and put you out your misery. Rich, you can go this week for us.
Solid 2-0 victory. Simple as that.
Alfie, you see anything other than that?
No, I agree. I think I said that on the Stoke one. I think 2-0 would be a good result. Well, not obviously a good result, but it'd be nice to not be battered.
Okay. All right. Thanks, Alfie, for joining us.
No
we really
worries.
appreciate it. We'll now review the Bristol City. Before we do, we're asking you to name the 3 players that have played for both Stoke City and the Swans, and we'll ask this lot to see if they can get all 3 of them at the end of this particular record. Right, thanks, Alfie. We'll jump on to next week. For the rest of you, let's rate some takes, shall we? Disappointing second half. It looked like Bristol wanted it more. Sad to see we were back to backwards and sideways passing again. The same old wasting of free kicks in the opponent's half by passing back and nobody wanting the balls from throw-ins. It's so obvious and management sadly haven't corrected it. Do they miss this being at pitch level? Hugh, there's lots to unpack in there. First of all, this wasting of free kicks by passing it backwards. Is this something frustrating to you as well? It was mentioned by a few people.
Yeah, absolutely. We haven't been brilliant at set pieces for a few years now. I can't remember the last time we scored a decent one. But yeah, and the passing backwards is too much as well. I don't think that's an incorrect assessment, particularly the 45 minutes bit. It was identical to the Cardiff game, almost exactly. Played really well for the first half. Should have put them to the sword, and then just capitulate in the second half, and lucky to pick up a point in the end.
Okay. Jamie's point here is a common theme. I could have put another 50 of these on the screen. Why do we only play well for 45 minutes? I think, James, you tweeted something very similar. We are leading, so just let the other team attack. Against the better teams, it doesn't work as they find a way through. Can't just be happy with scoring the first goal. Right, I'm going to let you guys chat amongst yourselves here. What happens at half-time, which means Swansea go to pot for the final 45 minutes? You've got 2.5 minutes to discuss, and I'll sit.
Take Frank off.
Yeah, he beat me to it. As soon as he comes off, the tempo just falls to the floor.
Well, to be fair, I don't know if I necessarily blame that on him, because I don't think we changed much after he came off that game. Obviously, we weren't great, but we weren't great for the entire second half, really. And that's when he was on the pitch for 75% of it. The goal is a corner where we've lost our man, and he's I think Jason Knight's 5'6", and he won a header in the box, so that's probably your main concern there. But I think, the second Frank comes off, you do see a change. But I think I don't know what it is he says to them, but it's got to be something drastic because it's like a different team.
Knight really wanted the header, though, didn't he? He came in there. There was no stopping him with that one. I've tried to defend them, and when you have someone flying in on that, no chance. But big thing I want to say is like the fitness. It's how many times we've seen players play 90 minutes. We haven't. So it was pleasing to see Ohm get a majority of the game in, and he kept his standard up from, pretty much most of it. But Franco, I feel, would play the 90 if he could play the 90. That's the kind of feeling I have. Someone might play with him, but he's too important to be taken off. So I think there must be method in the madness somewhere.
Okay. One thing that's really frustrating me at the moment as well is this obsession with putting Abdullah on the wing as well. We've spent £2 million on a winger. And again, you're crying out for place. Let's be honest, Ronald was nigh on awful on Saturday. If I'm not going to lie. He could have brought Bianchini on at any time, and his big idea is to, again, put a defensive midfielder on the wing. It is so frustrating, and I don't know how many times he's going to do it before he sees it's not working.
I'm so glad you mentioned Ronald, because I was fearful of putting this last tweet on the screen, but we're going to go with it. Tom says, how long until there's a conversation about Ronald? He's an extremely frustrating player. I can forgive a lack of end product, but his is atrocious. He's elite at beating his man, but is completely incapable of crossing a football and is one of the last players I'd back in front of goal. Rich, we spoke about Ronald a lot last year with James about his silky transitions and bringing players into play. Is it just not working for him this season, or has he been found out?
It's a strange one, really, because he's got all the talent in the world. He's that kind of player you want to have in your team. I can't really work it out why he's not really gone on and pulled through a bit more. He could be right. It could be a case of opposition have picked up certain things they know to defend against him. But I think, really speaking, he needs to be more direct in what he does, and he needs to be trying to get away more shots, more crosses, early crosses, early shots.
Okay. All right, then we will leave the Bristol City game there. They, of course, played Cardiff this weekend as well. They were telling us actually that their hate for Cardiff is 10 times their dislike for Swansea. So you must be doing something right. Just while we're in Wales, let's talk about this Welsh Cup idea that's been floating around the net. My first question to you: is it true? And secondly, would you want to be a part of it? The idea, I believe, is that you all compete in the Welsh Cup for a place in Europe. Hugh, what's your view on it?
A bit mixed, really. Well, we used to be in it before, so it's not something that's new. We have played it before. It's a difficult one because I get people are getting a bit romanticised by the prospect of European tour, but it's not a given. And I don't know if we need the extra games, to be honest with you, while we're trying to compete and survive in the Championship at the moment.
Jimmy?
Yeah, I think it's I think it's not the official Welsh Cup. I think it's a whole new tournament they're adding in alongside it. So then I think we take away a Conference League spot from one of the teams in the Welsh Premier. I think that's what the ruling was. But again, it's a tricky one because, as Hugh said, you get romanticised with the whole idea of going back on a European tour and having, a chance every year at consistent European football. As a team in the Championship, it doesn't happen. You just don't get them opportunities ever. And I think, but as he said as well, the extra games when we're already a paper-thin squad, you then add God knows how many European games, especially if you qualify, it can get, especially if the Championship's so demanding, these lot could be playing 70 games in a season with the prospect of even if we got knocked out in the group format. So it's a lot, but as I said, the chance to play in Europe is quite intriguing, I suppose, to a lot of people.
Rich?
Well, I think personally it's a competitive edge for some of the youngsters to play in. So, you get really the first team and you get the under-21s as such, and there's no real step between. So that's a good transitional tournament for them. And if you can make it, well, it's financially beneficial for everybody, really. It's that extra bridge now on plugging that debt we've got. So okay. I think it's a good idea. And they also have some spicy matches against Wrexham and Cardiff. So okay. Why not?
You no doubt will have seen all the English clubs or English football fans' reaction to it, which is basically, right, well, tell them all to leave the leagues and sort it out themselves. A quick word on attendance, James. An atmosphere at the .com on Sunday. Rate it for us.
Probably I'd say like a 7 out of 10. And at its moments, there was quite a lot of empty seats, which was unusual for these games because they do tend to draw bigger crowds. Notably, it was the areas of the stadium that don't make much noise that you were having the empty seats in. But again, not as feisty as it has been in previous years.
It's a common theme we're talking to lots of other clubs about. Hillsborough's quiet at the moment. Bramall Lane is like a museum. So we are lacking atmosphere in the Championship this season for some reason. We'll perhaps come back and talk about that another time. All right, then, 2 last questions before we let you go. We posed this little riddle for you before. 3 players that have played for both Stoke and Swansea. Any takers on any of this?
Joey
Joe
Allen.
Allen.
One of his names.
Sam
Yeah.
Lucas
Because, yeah.
Yeah.
and Wilfred Boney.
Yeah.
Wilfred Boney smashed it. Oh, that was far too easy. I made that far too easy for you. I'll have to
No, you say his name.
double down on that last week. Yeah, absolutely. And your final question to you is the September Player of the Month, because we're now into October. So I want one name from each of you. You can choose the same one, and a very quick and brief reason. Let's start with you, James.
I'm going to say Ollie Cooper because this month it looks like he's a player reborn compared to the player we saw last season. He's back to his best when he first burst into the team under Russell Martin.
Thank you very much, Hugh.
It's got to be Franco. He's playing the season already, let alone the month.
Okay. Jimmy. You might lose in January. Jimmy.
To be fair, it's the first time I've actually struggled to make this decision in a long time, to be honest. It's normally harder to actually find someone who's been good than someone who's multiple people who've been good. But I'm going to say Franco, but I would also give props to Cooper and Vigouroux as well. They've all been excellent. I think it's quite. You could pick out. You could pick. I think 7 or 8 of the players. I don't think there'll be any complaints from anyone about it. But yeah,
Right.
I'd go with Franco.
We've never had that said on this podcast, have we, Rich? We could pick 7 or 8 players for Player of the Month.
Never.
Go on.
Got to be, for me, defensively, we've been great. So I'm going to go with the keeper, the cat, Vigouroux.
Brilliant.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. Drop your comments on who you think should get Swansea Player of the Month. Enjoy your trips this week, and of course we'll catch you the other side of the Stoke game before our next international break. Thank you very much for watching. Drop us a subscribe, drop us a like, and we'll see you next week. Have a great week, everyone.